so I thought I'd come to Stradbroke Island. It's an island north of Brisbane where I live. You have to go to basically the end of the lines to get here. It's kind of frustrating to get here, but here I am. I don't know if I've ever been to this part. It's quite beautiful. The beach here is incredible. Find somewhere to swim. Yeah, I'm reading this book at the moment, The Stone Age Diet, written in the 80s, and makes some incredible points. I've read the other books, the Stefansson one, the really old ones, and the one with the dentist. I think he wrote it in the 1920s, or he traveled the world looking for why people have good and bad teeth. All the sort of standard carnivore diet books. But yeah, this one's very good, and it talks so much about, it just really talks about the philosophy of it, the part I've gotten up to anyway. And it makes so much sense that the humans are obligate carnivores. And you can see it in so many ways, where it mentions this, it's quite often that people will get lost. They get lost in the jungle or the rainforest, these places where there's an incredible amount of nutrition. If you think of it, like, there's an incredible amount of plants and everywhere, but these people die. And then they find their diaries, and some of them write down their experiences. And they say that they're just talking about that they're slowly dying of starvation, even though completely surrounded by plants. Even here you can see this whole island's full of this beautiful bush, sort of subtropical rainforest. And and people go to these places where there's just plants everywhere, but they die from starvation, because anyone who goes hiking or anything like that sees pretty quickly that if you were lost out there, what are you going to eat? If you start eating just random grass and leaves and plants, you get sick very quickly, and in that situation it would kill you. Even if you find fruit, right? If you found berries, you have to be very careful, because there are some berries here in Australia, red ones, that can kill you very quickly, especially if you're already starving and dehydrated. To be poisoned at the same time is fatal. So yeah, if we get lost, you can't just eat plants. And then if you talk to vegetarians or vegans about this, they say that things are different now, that centuries or millennia ago there was more fruit, vegetables and stuff, but I don't think so. I think it's just the same. Occasionally you find some berries that are safe, some honey, maybe a couple of tubers every now and then, and that's it. The rest, your only option if you're lost in the wilderness is to eat animals. Eat the animals that are eating the plants. And these fruits and vegetables are man-made. They're not natural. If you look at the original fruit, bananas are essentially inedible. Things like potatoes, they crossbred them until they were edible. I think the original potato was poisonous. Pretty much all the fruit and vegetables that we go into the supermarket and get are this. They are man-made sugar balls, right? So in order to subsist on a diet that's made of plants, it's an entirely artificial diet. They even need to take B12, which is a lab-created chemical. So this blows any vegetation-based theory of human diet out of the water, in my opinion. If we put an animal in the same situation, say a cow or whatever other animals are vegetarian, or what they call herbivores, they thrive, right? Put them in the rainforest or the jungle and they thrive because they can eat anything everywhere. Koalas, for example, are one of the only animals that can live off gum trees or eucalyptus. It's poisonous to every other animal, including humans, of course, but they've adapted to it. And that suggests that humans are just not designed for it. We cannot survive in places where herbivores can survive. We need to eat the herbivores. There's no other option. And then the argument is that some vegetation is better than none. And I would argue why. Some vegetation, there's nothing that isn't contained within meat and fat, animal meat, animal fat. Why have some vegetation? To have this artificial feeling of fullness from the fibre that we can't break down, the cellulose that's impossible for our guts to break down, that a herbivore's gut easily breaks down. To have this artificial bulk in the body that is very quickly passed through and then you need to eat again. Fill up very quickly on, fill up on meat and fat, and you're full for ages. There's no bloating, there's no issues at all, and you just stay full. If I eat a huge amount of bacon and eggs in the morning, I'm done for the day. Sometimes I'll eat a second meal that's smaller, but I don't have to, and I'm not upset by it. I don't get the thing that people who eat plants get, which is they call it getting hangry. This doesn't happen. Found the swimming area. So why have some vegetation? It would be the taste. We have this kind of trigger for taste, it seems, for sweet things. And you would argue, why do we even have that? There are omnivorous animals. I believe the bear is one of them, and they use carbohydrates mainly before they go to hibernate to get fatter. And I believe for the rest of the time they eat animal meat and fat. But then, when they're about to hibernate for however many months that is, they get fatter on carbohydrates, and obviously humans do too. It's the combination of fat and carbohydrates that seems to make us fat. It's an unnatural combination that animals don't eat in the wild. Because if you look at a low-fat vegan, their bodies are draining itself of its own fat because it has to use it. There's no other option. Your body can't live without animal fat, so it will use its own resources while you're not eating it. And then you can see that in the way that they are, the way their bodies look, where it's just emaciated, right? So why eat fibre at all? It just causes so many problems for our guts. I was vegan for nearly a year, and the bloating, the pain, the gas, and how annoying it is to sit there and have to eat bowl after bowl of fibre. And I have to say there is an enjoyable element to it where you're just justified in binging on carbs. You can binge on carbs multiple times a day. And I think it's part of the appeal of being a vegan or a vegetarian is that it's justified to do that. But you feel so sick and so bloated, brain fog and headaches and energy problems. Clearly fibre is not good for us, and my theory is to zero fibre is better than a small amount, is better than any at all. So I'm trialing that now with my diet, zero fibre diet, and I'll see how that goes for a fair while. Maybe it's fibre itself is the cause of a lot of the problems with our guts. Definitely antibiotics are a factor, but fibre maybe as well. Maybe without the fibre we can heal things, you know, like Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, C. diff, all those sorts of things, anything to do with the gut and the bowel. A weird mossy kind of river thing that is left here when the beach, when the water's high tide, I guess. Water's kind of warm. But yeah, that's the end of the video. The end of my day. I'm gonna head back, swim in the water for a bit. Let me know if you have any questions, suggestions, leave a comment. Otherwise, all the best. Cheers, guys.